Hello, my name's Linda Wilson. I'm a counsellor on Phillip Island and my business is called Elite Counselling. I'm going to talk to you today about positivity, or more specifically, toxic positivity. So positivity is great, but too much given at the wrong time, and it's actually more hurtful than it is helpful. And this is when it turns into toxic positivity. Now let me explain that. Toxic positivity is the excessive and ineffective overgeneralization of a happy and an optimistic state. So it can result, toxic positivity can result in the suppression, denial, and minimization and invalidation of some of your genuine emotional experiences. And it's where someone encourages you to shut up or to shut down if you're feeling any sense of negativity, sadness, anger, anxiety, pain, frustration, fear, grief, anything like that. And they only want you to think positive thoughts or to say positive things. Now, you can even do this to yourself. You can shut yourself down. So toxic positivity can have a really unhealthy impact by disallowing the existence of certain feelings. You can fall into a state of denial and repression, and we can allow or disallow ourselves and perhaps others the right to feeling any sort of emotion that doesn't appear to be a positive one, so a perceived negative emotion. And to force a positive outlook on someone who is in pain is actually encouraging them to stay silent about their struggles. And I'm telling you now, it's actually courageous to be honest about those hard emotions, and you do not have to pretend that everything is great if it is not. Now, there's nothing wrong with being positive. Of course, there's nothing wrong with being positive, except when it's used to deny your other emotions. And that is when it becomes toxic. Because you have valid reasons to feel sad, angry, upset, annoyed, grief, anxious, whatever it is. Valid reasons, and you need to give yourself permission to feel all of your emotions, the range, the spectrum of all of your emotions. So how do you know if you're experiencing toxic positivity from others? Well, it's when you're encouraged to hide or not express what you really feel. It's when you dismiss your negative emotions as wrong, and that can sometimes make you feel guilty for even having any negative emotions. People might brush you off with statements like, oh, it is what it is, or well, it's done now, or it's better to just get on with it. It's when someone, or you can do this to yourself, minimizes what you're feeling with those feel-good quotes, like something like, oh, well, happiness is a state of mind and you can just make yourself feel happier. It can even be when someone tries to show you a different and a positive perspective, saying something like, well, it could be worse. Well, it's bad enough for you right now. Or saying something like, oh, look, it's not that hard at the moment, is it? Well, it feels hard for you right now. When someone makes you feel ashamed or wrong if you're not feeling super positive, and I'm telling you, you don't always have to be looking on the bright side. So also you need to ask yourself, are you doing this to others? Are you someone that likes to give someone a pep talk or to be their cheer squad? You can do it, I know, think positive. I'm going to say that in an effort to cheer up others, are you actually doing toxic positivity? And if you are doing this, I want you to consider changing some of what you see as your helpful responses. And I know you're doing it because you want to be helpful, no denying that. But often it can be unhealthy. So I've put some ideas on the board here about how to change a toxic positivity statement into something that's more accepting and validating. So for example, the top one here, a toxic positivity statement is, you know what, don't think about it, just stay positive. And I'm going to suggest that you change it to, so tell me what's been happening for you. That gives someone a chance to express or talk about how they're feeling. Another toxic positivity statement. Stop worrying about it, just be happy. Change that to something like, I can see you're really stressed. How can I help? Or if you ever say to someone, don't be so negative, Do you know what? If someone's feeling negative, they might have some very good reason for that. So maybe change that to saying something really simple like, you know what, sometimes life is hard. What about if you're someone that says, oh, just look on the bright side? Perhaps you could change that to, what a dark time this is for you. I'm here for you if you need me. Well, what about if someone says, everything will work out in the end? Perhaps you could say something instead like, it sounds like things are really tough for you right now. And just let them speak about it. There could be others. I know I've heard of people saying things like failure is not an option, but actually, in fact, failure happens to all of us at some time. It's a normal part of life. And it's not the failure that defines us, it's our ability to get up and keep moving after that. But are you allowed to have some negative emotions when you experience failure? Of course you are. Of course you are. Oh, there's another toxic statement that I know that's said quite a lot. Well, if I can do it, I got through something similar, so you can too. And in actual fact, all of us cope really differently with things, and everyone has different ways of managing a situation. All of us have different ways of coping too, and different sort of strategies about ways to get through it. So just because one person does it one way doesn't mean that would work for another person. Or saying something like, well, everything happens for a reason. Maybe it does and maybe it doesn't, but it's okay to feel bad sometimes. Look, the truth is, you're not allowing yourself or another person to be whole if you're not allowing them some of their emotions or only allowing them some of their emotions. Life is hard sometimes. Things will hurt us. There'll be occasions where people will disappoint us. Different things are going to happen in life. We're going to experience grief, fear, sadness, disappointment, anger, and this is all perfectly normal. These feelings are part of being human, and we should be feeling them when life throws us a curveball. So I encourage you to, yes, positivity is great, but don't be toxic with your positivity. And you know it's toxic if you're denying someone to experience their emotions, or you're denying yourself, or someone's doing that to you. So please consider, yes, being positive, what a great attribute that is, but don't do it in a toxic way. All right, I'll see you next time. Thank you. Just turning this off.